Welcome to the Detroit Holistic Center and Holistic Training Institute presentation on colon and digestive health. I'm Jesse Brown, naturopath, and I'll be sharing with you some information on your colon digestive systems and why we need to take care of them. We're broadcasting live, and we have a live audience as well. So give yourselves a round of applause. A round of applause. There you go. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And this is one class in a series of a number of classes that we're offering on holistic health, naturopathy, homeopathy, etc. So let's see. A bit about me. I began studying holistic health methods in 1981 and founded Detroit Holistic Center in 1987, the Holistic Training Institute in 1999. Now, the Holistic Training Institute is licensed by the state of Michigan and has been licensed by the state of Michigan as a proprietary school. That is similar to Everest and Davenport and other post-secondary, or what they call adult educational schools. The Holistic Training Institute is approved to offer a 96-course, 3,234-hour program on naturopathy, including homeopathy, herbology, nutrition, raw and healing foods preparation, colon hydrotherapy, and many other courses designed to certify people in these areas. So people can get certification in naturopathy, homeopathy, herbology, and they can get individual certificates in a number of classes: emotional freedom technique, therapeutic touch, nutrition, and just a variety of courses designed to empower, lead to employment, enterprise, and entrepreneurship. Now, I hold many certificates in holistic studies such as colon hydrotherapy, reflexology, iridology, a master herbalist, and doctorate in naturopathy from Trinity School of Natural Health. My studies, again, go back to 1981, and over the years, my staff and I have seen over 50,000 people since we opened our doors on Dexter Boulevard in Detroit. And I've trained people from all across the United States, Canada, the Caribbean, Africa, and soon classes will be offered online and through distance learning programs. So it won't just be local to the people who are here in the greater Detroit metropolitan area, but across the country as well. Now, we're talking about the digestive system. Now, the digestive system is vital to the health of the entire body. You may see on commercials information about the digestive system and its link to the immune system. Approximately 80 to 90% of the immune tissue, it lies within the digestive system. Okay? The digestive system runs through the center of the body, goes from mouth to anus. Okay? As I will illustrate on this chart. Okay. So, this is a picture of the digestive system. Okay. And, you know, as illustrated by the picture over here on the, let's see, my right, perhaps your left. The digestive system is approximately 33 feet long, and again, going from mouth to anus, so that's a lot of room for things to get caught up or for problems to exist. We have minor organs of digestion like the teeth, tongue, hard palate, soft palate in the mouth, the salivary glands, the throat, including the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas, all they're secreting the enzymes into the digestive system so that it functions as it should and breaks down food as things go through. Now, if things go wrong, if things don't go smoothly, they can get get out of whack anywhere here from the mouth all the way through the small intestine, large intestine, anywhere from one end to the other. And if things don't go smoothly, if digestion is not functioning the way that it should, then we end up having digestive problems. Okay? And that can come from anything as simple as not chewing foods properly, all the way up to problems that would result in colon cancer or colorectal cancer. In fact, if you can see this chart, okay, this is a chart of the digestive system and what it looks like if things are not healthy there. So we can have problems in the mouth. The mouth isn't illustrated here, but in the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, in gallbladder, the small intestine, large intestine, all the way throughout. There can be problems all the way from one end to the other. Okay. So there's an expression that says, you are what you eat. And that's not entirely true. You are not just what you eat. You are what you eat, what you digest, what you assimilate, and what you do or do not eliminate. So that you are what you eat, what you digest, what you assimilate, and then what you do or do not eliminate. So if all those things are not in place, then you will not have good digestion, and there will be problems that you have with the digestive system. So again, that's eating. That's what we put into our bodies, okay, or put into our mouths. What we digest. Does our body break it down to be usable? Okay, and then it's got to be broken down small enough into product, what we call chyme. Got to be broken down small enough so our body can absorb the nutrients from it. And then that's assimilation, and then what we do or do not eliminate. So if our body is holding on to that waste, if it becomes a waste product, then we're going to have health problems. Now, digestion. So you are not just what you eat. So digestive problems have been around for a very long time, really pretty much since the beginning of recorded history and recorded medical history. There's a book called the Ebers Papyrus, Ebers, E-B-E-R-S, Papyrus, which are the earliest medical writings of in existence. And even in there, they had recommendations for things like gas or constipation. In fact, in one section, they talk about using the oil of the castor bean. So what is that? Castor oil. Okay, that's castor oil. So if we get constipated, one of the things, and as people have been constipated over time, one of the things they used historically was castor oil, and you can use it externally and internally. We might talk about that in a little while. But digestive problems are the most common reason that people visit the doctor's office as well, or go to the hospital. Okay. Next, so some common digestive problems are gas, bloating, irregularity, chronic constipation, stomach aches, acid reflux, IBS, leaky gut syndrome, Crohn's disease, and colorectal cancer. Okay? And if you look at the ones at the top, many times what people start off with is simple gas, bloating, and the occasional irregularity, and then it develops into chronic constipation. There may be stomach aches or some inflammatory condition like acid reflux, IBS, also known as irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut syndrome, Crohn's disease is another very serious ailment that people get, an inflammatory disease. And then when a person has inflammatory condition or inflammatory disease, that sets the stage for or puts them at high risk for colorectal cancer. Now, there's a video that I want to show you on digestive health problems. Okay, but I'm going to go to this. Gas, bloating, occasional irregularity. Let me tell you some of the things that people do. That people do when they have digestive problems. Many times they will use some things like this, right? And this is citrate of magnesium. Now, it works, it'll work you, but it's not something that you want to take on a regular basis. Others may take an enema. You're familiar with that, the Fleet's enema. Now, this is something that people started using, but originally, many years ago, when I was coming up, we had a hot water bottle, right? We had the hot water bottle, 2-quart capacity, and that's what, and the tip was lubricated, and that's what was inserted, and so use about 2 quarts to get a good flush. Now, my mother used to put some soap in there. A lot of times you get the soap suds enema, and that's kind of an irritant. So I think some people thought to get clean inside you had to use soap and water. Okay. Well, the good news is you don't have to use soap. You don't have to use a soapy suds enema. You don't have to irritate the colon like that, or you can get a good cleanse without using the soap. Use soap on the outside, not on the inside. Now let's see. Make sure we get our technology together, because there is a video that I want to show you all. And if technology is not cooperating, then we're going to go to plan B. Okay. But here it is. Okay.
Colon hydrotherapy is a process in which the colon is detoxified by means of purified water. Occasionally, a buildup of waste can accumulate in the colon. Using a continuous flow of water, this waste material is softened and broken down. These loose waste deposits, along with any toxins that may have built up in the colon, are flushed out of the body. Also known as a colonic, this restorative procedure aids greatly in the regeneration of the lining of the colon. A number of factors may help congest the colon to the point where a colonic would be needed to return the body to a healthy state. An older patient who has never had a colonic before may need many more treatments than a younger patient, since their colon has been exposed to much more over a longer period of time. Your diet also plays a huge role in determining your treatment. Poorer choices in your food intake can harm your body's ability to remove waste effectively. Healthier food choices, on the other hand, actually aid your body in how efficiently it processes foods. Your colon's health is linked to the lifestyle you lead. Having too much stress, being overly emotional, or simply not getting enough exercise can cause issues within the colon. Medications or other drugs can also help prevent the colon from emptying its contents. Even something as simple as not heeding the call can create issues within the colon. Taking the time to eliminate the waste from your system is a must. Colon hydrotherapy is used to ease the effects from these factors. Along with these, there are several other conditions of the colon that a colonic can help to alleviate. The term leaky gut is commonly used to describe the issue of undigested food or proteins passing through the intestinal lining prematurely. When these proteins are repeatedly leaked into the bloodstream, the body begins to treat them as foreign invaders. As a result, a variety of immune responses such as psoriasis, eczema, and sinusitis can occur. The intestinal mucosa can be altered by medications, infection, diet, alcohol, caffeine, stress, and even tap water. Systemic candidiasis infection is one of the more common causes of leaky gut. With SCI, the Candida bacteria, or yeast, overpopulates in the colon. When this happens, it begins its second life cycle, mold. The mold then roots itself in the walls of the colon via rhizomes, or tiny roots. As these roots penetrate the wall, it creates areas in which undigested proteins could easily slip out and leak into the bloodstream. White blood cells then snap into action and attempt to rid the body of these substances. Because of this, the body sets up an allergic reaction. Irritable bowel syndrome is a chronic gastrointestinal disorder, which true causes still remain unknown. IBS has been used as somewhat of an umbrella category for those suffering constipation, constipation altering with diarrhea, or chronic loose bowels. Abdominal cramping or pain, bloating, and gassiness are common symptoms. IBS is also known as spastic colon, functional bowel disease, or mucus colitis, even though it isn't a true colitis. Although the main causes for IBS are currently unknown, research has shown that IBS may be the result of abnormal gastrointestinal tract movement due to a change in the nervous system's communication between the brain and GI tract. Others may suffer from IBS due to their colon being more sensitive, their immune system handling stress and infection differently, or it could be a hormonal change. Even though the reasons that cause IBS haven't been fully discovered, what it is not has been defined. It is clearly a physical ailment and not purely psychological. IBS is not the result of an anatomical problem, a clear physical or chemical issue, a cancer, and it will not lead to other gastrointestinal diseases. Currently, there is no cure for IBS. However, several treatments are available to aid in coping with its symptoms. Therapies from changes in your diet, exercise, stress management, and even certain medications can help tremendously. Changing your diet can help sufferers of IBS with constipation. Gradually adding fiber-rich foods to your daily intake can help your colon move material. Foods such as whole grain breads and cereals, fruits and vegetables, along with prune juice and water, can help loosen the bowels. Avoiding foods like coffee, soda, chips, and white rice can also help ease your symptoms, since these can slow down the passage of material. Remember, different foods affect people differently. What works for you may not work for the next. Keeping a journal may aid greatly in developing a list of foods that you can handle while knowing which to avoid. Since aspects of IBS are suspected to have stress-related roots, knowing how to manage your stress more effectively could have dramatic effects on helping ease the discomfort. Activities such as regular exercise, yoga, and meditation do help lessen one's stress level and may in turn aid in IBS. You may also be able to approach your stress through behavioral therapy. These therapies help train your mind and body on dealing and reacting to certain events. Some have found that going through certain therapies such as psycho or relaxation therapy have helped to deal with their symptoms of IBS. Diverticula are small, marble-sized pouches that form in the wall of the colon. These pockets are found in areas where the lining is weak. The digestive tract actually bulges out from the inner layer into the outer. Due to the condition not usually causing symptoms, most people who have diverticula never know it. However, if the pouch was to become infected and inflamed, the new diverticulosis could lead to abdominal pain, fever, nausea, or a change in bowel habits. Diverticula can generally occur as a result of age, constipation, a connective tissue disorder, stress, medications, lack of exercise, or even from something as simple as ignoring the urge to have a bowel movement. generally affecting the elderly. Diverticula have been also known to appear in younger patients as well. Most times, areas where a diet that mostly consists of enriched carbohydrates while being low in fiber is typical, diverticula is very prevalent. As the body and colon grow older, the walls of the lining begin to thicken on the outside and narrow on the inside. This creates greater pressure on the waste as it moves through. In turn, the waste spends more time in the colon, allowing it to become harder and drier. Adding these to frequent and repeated straining, the perfect situation has been created for diverticula to develop within the colon. In most cases, a general feeling of pressure along with some periods of sharp pain could occur. Some may experience a tickling sensation in their abdomen as the pouches fill and empty. Bleeding from the rectum may also occur. A physician should be consulted as soon as possible, especially if you're over 40, as this may be an early sign of colon cancer. As the waste passes by, a small bit may get lodged in the ever-growing pouches. This can lead to an infection. In worst cases, a small tear or perforation could develop, spilling the contents into the abdomen. Known as peritonitis, medical treatment is needed right away. Colitis is a condition in which the lining of the colon becomes inflamed, generally affecting the rectum and lower left portion of the colon. An acute or chronic condition can cause the cells of the inner mucosal lining to become inflamed, and sores or ulcers could develop. This can lead to frequent emptying of the colon, abdominal pain, bleeding, lack of appetite, nausea, and fatigue. Colitis is generally found in younger patients, usually before they reach 30 years of age, but it's even been known to occur in the elderly as well. Certain aspects of the condition have led researchers to believe that colitis can be triggered by several contributing factors: family history, genetic similarity, especially amongst identical twins, infectious or environmental toxins, changes in the immune system, smoking, oral contraceptive, or it can be psychological. Research has also shown that another likely cause of colitis is the immune system's reaction to the introduction of a virus or bacteria. Bacteria such as Salmonella produce toxins that trigger the cells of the colon to secrete water and salt, which interrupt their normal functions. Viruses like rotavirus can actually damage the mucosal membrane of the colon and cause a disturbance in fluid absorption. This reaction produces two major forms of inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD: Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Crohn's disease is like colitis, but differs in that it causes the inflammation much deeper in the intestinal wall. Crohn's disease is also known to occur in other areas of the body, such as in the mouth, esophagus, and stomach. Diet, along with gut-healing nutrients, beneficial bacteria, and abdominal massage can help reverse the effects of colitis. Massage is used to increase the circulation of nutrients needed to heal the lining. It also brings about important nervous system responses whereby the entire body functions better. Constipation is the incomplete elimination of waste. When fluids such as lymph, bile, and blood in the large intestine or colon become sluggish, waste matter can become difficult to void. This can lead to an increase in toxins in the body and a decline to one's overall health. Some of the most common reasons for this condition can vary from poor diet, dehydration, laxative abuse, lack of exercise, scar tissue, irritable bowel syndrome or spasms, and stress. Once the colon has become overrun with old waste, toxins, and even parasites, a colonic may be needed to return the system to a normal, healthy state. Colon hydrotherapy is a very safe and often pleasant procedure. Actually, if more people knew how toxic the colon can be, they may be inclined to get a colonic more frequently. During the course of a day, the body can come into contact with all kinds of toxins, unwanted bacteria, and just the normal waste from the body. If your colon isn't working at peak performance, these elements just sit in your system, sometimes for years. Colonics, however, can help bring the balance back to your system, making it a healthy environment. Each colonic session would be roughly the same. Every effort is made so that you can remain in a relaxed state for the duration of the procedure. A specialized tool used to filter water into the colon is called a speculum. The speculum allows for the insertion of purified water and the removal of waste. The type of speculum may differ from physician to physician, but all work basically the same. The speculum is inserted in through the rectum and about 3 inches into the rectal canal. A gentle flow of hot and cold water is used to create relaxation and contraction of the muscles. The waste breaks down and exits the body through a viewing tube. The entire length of the colon can be cleansed in this way. A therapist closely monitors the water pressure, temperature, and waste as it exits out of the body. From the waste, therapists can better understand the patient's body and what exactly may be the cause of the issue or issues. Remember that the length and amount of sessions will depend on a few factors. Working with your therapist, a regular routine can be established, helping you to take the steps towards creating a clean and healthy body.
Okay. All right, so you learned something new there? Yes. All right. Yes. Okay, so that is okay. So that was a short video that you typically see when you come in to Detroit Holistic Center to give more information on the colon digestive system and the conditions that the colon can be in. We need some technique. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. Now I'm going to speak about the some other information here. The let's see. Colon disease or colon health. So we're either going to have colon disease or colon health. The incidence of colorectal cancer, very important. So you've seen a number of the conditions that a person's colon or digestive system can be in, right? I mean, anything from, either bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, diverticulosis. It usually starts off, though, with gas, bloating, some intestinal discomfort, and then it gets to perhaps chronic constipation. A person doesn't just wake up one day and have colitis, or wake up one day and have IBS. There's normally something that happens over time, and there's a reason for this. But I want to address colorectal cancer, something that really is important to me, and one of the reasons why I stayed on this path. Years ago, my father's parents passed away before he was 17, so I never knew them. And my mother's mother passed away before she was 6 months old. So I've only known one grandparent in my entire lifetime. That was my grandfather. And he died from colon cancer. Right? However, before he passed away, colon hydrotherapy was the only thing that gave him relief. Right? He had been suffering, he'd suffered with it, and they had about it one time, and then, and I believe some surgery, and then years later, he was in severe pain. He had lost weight, and my mother called me early in the morning. I believe it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and she said, "Your grandfather wants to see you. He's feeling really bad." And he had been putting it off up until then. She, brought him by. We took him up the stairs. We were at another facility on Dexter, Road near Joy. And we brought him in, and got him settled, spoke to him, got him on the table. Well, first I asked him, I said, "How you doing, Grandpa?" He's like, "Well, and I could tell. I mean, it's like, people when their lights are really dim and they're mentally not doing well." So, so I said, I asked him, I said, do you want to live? Do you want to, make it through this? And he's like, "Well, I don't know." And so anyway, I took him in. He was, good to have the session, and I worked on him. And I had to help him on the table going in, but when he came out, he got off the table himself and came on out and came into the lobby area after going to the restroom. And he looked at me and he said, "Thank you." He said, "You saved my life." He said, "When I came in, I felt so bad
I didn't care if I lived or died. Okay, and that's really bad. So I don't know, if you've had pain, or if you know somebody have severe chronic, pain for a long period of time, but they're just miserable every day. And I know he had to be really miserable. I mean, I'm his youngest grandchild. Okay, and he had been to the doctors and everything, and gotten colon and whatnot. He'd gone through a lot of colon cancer before, and so for him to come to me was really a big step anyway. So I worked with him with more sessions, but really felt and discovered, an area of mass that was not moving. I knew it was not waste. Because I worked with waste before. I did, did all the manipulation. I said, I told my mother, I said, you need to take Grandpa to the doctor because there's something there. Right? And he went to the doctor, went to the hospital, and unfortunately never left the hospital. Right? The cancer had gotten just that advanced, it had gotten that bad. And then, the incidence of colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of deaths from cancer. Number one is, what number one is? Lung cancer. And that's directly attributed to tobacco use, particularly smoking, but tobacco use. Okay? Second is colorectal cancer. And that's cancer of the colon and the rectum. Okay, or the rectum. It can be in the colon, which is the last 5 feet of the digestive system, or the rectum. I'll show you an illustration here. So the cancer can be
here or here.
So the colon or rectum, so they call it colorectal cancer. And once it's gotten to 4th stage, it's usually, it's been a long progression that's going on that really is a problem. So it affects, who does it affect? It affects all Americans. In fact, cancer overall is going to affect approximately 1 in 3 people in their lifetime. I'm sure you know, and people in our audience here know, someone who's been affected by cancer. Women primarily are affected by cancers of the reproductive organ, breast, urine, etc., and cancer of the ovaries, etc. And men are typically affected by cancers of the digestive system. We'll have the tongue, the mouth, the throat, the stomach, colon cancer, prostate cancer. Okay? But colorectal cancer really affects African American men a great deal. African Americans, I'll say probably more harshly, because one, we tend to get detected at a later stage. And then secondly, so we tend not to survive. So it's one thing if colon cancer was discovered in an earlier stage, or if we had the colonoscopy and they discovered the polyps, then they can kind of, I call it, nip it in the butt. Okay. Yeah, I know you heard the expression, nip it in the bud, but it's, this way, in this particular, it's nipping it in the butt. Okay. But if you can get it in other words, if you can pull out a weed when it's very small, right? Before it takes over the whole plant. But by the time it's got in there, it's made roots and it's pretty large. It is a problem, and that's kind of how cancer is. It can be, and colon cancer is a slow-growing cancer. It's not a fast-growing cancer like there are some like brain cancers and some that advance pretty quickly. What causes it? Medical science may say they don't know. They don't know if it's genetics, or they don't know if it's family history related. They don't know what causes it. However, what we do find is that cancers are generally a result of our diet and lifestyle. What we eat and what we do or do not do. Okay? Some of what we do not eat as well. We're eating a lot of animal, we have instead of a plant-based diet, an animal-based diet. I mean, one time, when we weren't as affluent, we ate from the land. We came from an agrarian culture, or what you call a farming culture. So my father was from Fitzgerald, Georgia. So for those people from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Arkansas, Louisiana, and all those places, what happened? For the most part, they were farmers. And back then, what did people call organic food? Food. Exactly. It was just food. It was all organic because all they used was manure and things like that. And they went out there and picked out the, and so it was organic. It was fresh grown. And the best way to get food is right out of the garden. In fact, I've got a cousin who lives on Long Island, New York. My father's from Georgia. My mother was born in New Jersey. My cousins lived on Long Island. And so when we go out to visit them, my cousin would drive down the road, pull over on the side of the road, get some corn, grab some, and drive on home. Okay? Or you see those roadside stands. In other countries where they have a much lower incidence of cancers and other diseases, they normally get the food fresh. Okay? In fact, in Europe, they will shop daily. And in a number of countries, they'll shop daily. They get what they're going to eat tonight, that day. Okay? So when it's that fresh, it has the highest vibration, it has the greatest amount of energy. So when we go to the store now, and that produce sits on the counter, and that apple, you can cut the apple, and it looks the same way tomorrow, and the next day, there's not much life energy in there, and they've done something to it. So they're genetically modifying, causing a problem. So what causes it? Toxicity in the environment. We are subject to more toxins in 1 year than our grandparents were in their entire lifetimes. More toxins in 1 year. So when they say, oh, my grandfather lived to be 98, and they smoked and they drank and they did this, whatever. Okay? I mean, sometimes you get that story, and other times they say, well, somebody just lived a long time, and they lived pretty simply. But normally, their foundation was on a farm. So if for the first 30, 40 years or so of your life, you're eating really well, you set a good foundation. Just like with a baby, if that baby is breastfed, okay, its immune system tends to be real strong. So you're setting the foundation. With a house, what do? If you have a good foundation, you can build on top of that. If the foundation is poor, the house is going to crumble. I don't care what you spend on the house. It's got to have a good foundation. Our streets and our roads got to have a good foundation. Everything has to have a good foundation. So with the human body, if we don't have a good foundation, we're going to be doing a whole lot of work afterwards. We're going to be doing a whole lot of repair. So people today are not growing up on farms. We're getting our food. A lot of times the kids don't know where the food comes from. Where does corn come from? Oh, the store. Where does the pea come from? Oh, the store. That's all they know. That's what we're doing. We're getting it from the store. We're not getting it from farmers. So when they talk about getting local fresh produce, knowing who grows your food and those things, or even having gardens at home, best way to get it. You'd be surprised that when it truly is vine ripening. Now, a diet is important. Family history is a factor. What I find with African Americans in particular is that we have a history of sluggish digestive systems. And why is that, pray tell? Anybody know why that is? Well, eating meat. Well, one, diseases of affluence. So diabetes and some of these things are diseases of affluence. So when we grew up on the farm, we ate primarily vegetables. Nobody went out and killed a chicken every day. Okay, we just didn't do it. You know, if there was some chicken, you know, sometimes that was just once a week, or sometimes it was broken down. I know people from other countries, they said, you know, the amount of chicken that one person eats in a meal would feed an entire family. You know, they would have a stew. And especially if you didn't have a lot of money, then, you know, if you raised chickens, you sold the eggs and you sold the chicken. You didn't eat them all. If you had cows or whatever, you didn't just slaughter them all the time and eat them. You know, a cow was a very valuable commodity. Okay, very valuable thing to have. Even if you had goats, so you didn't just slaughter everything every day, because you know they don't necessarily reproduce that quickly. So we didn't have as much meat as we do, as much animal product. We had fresh fruits and vegetables, those things that were grown right there that we had a relationship with. They were organic. They were not genetically modified like they are today. Now, African Americans over years, so during the Middle Passage, there were no restroom stops. There were no toilet breaks or lavatory breaks. When we worked on plantations, when you worked out in the field from Casey in the morning to Casey at night, okay, people did not take restroom breaks. And you could pee on the cotton and make that cotton a little heavier, but you couldn't poop in the cotton, okay, to make it heavier. That would have been a problem. So what did people do? They held it. And then anybody who's seen the movie The Help, you seen The Help? You seen The Help? No, not yet. Okay, I say you want to see that. It's probably on Netflix or something now. But in The Help, one of the things they were showing, you know, is that the people who worked in the service, you know, they were the domestics, whether you drove a car or whether you worked in the kitchen or in the house, you did not use their toilet facilities or very little. If you could pee, you didn't poop in their restroom, right? So what do people do? They held it all day. So when we saw, and I remember coming up and saying X-Lax and the animal bags and those things at my aunt's, you know, homes and other people's homes. Why is it? That's how they managed their bowels. They managed it by, well, not this kind, but X-Lax and you know, milk of magnesia. Oh, excuse me, milk of magnesia as well, but citrate of magnesia and these things. Because when you hold it all day, what happens is that colon that should be 2.5 inches in diameter gets larger and larger and larger and larger. It starts stretching out of shape like a balloon. Okay, and then it holds too much, and then after a while they can't move it. So they have severe gas and cramping and problems. And when it got so bad, the people got what they call locked bowels. It could kill you. Okay, right? They called it locked bowels. It couldn't go at all. And what can be done? What can we do to alleviate this? So there's something I call a 10-step plan. Okay, and it starts off with faith. Now, first of all, no matter what your condition is, if you do not believe that you can get better, you probably aren't going to get better. Right? You got to have faith. If you don't believe, they say, you know, there's a doctor who said there are two things that are essential for all true healing to occur, and that's the belief of the person, the practitioner, in what they're doing, and the belief in the client or patient in the practitioner. So if the doctor does not have faith in what they do, true healing does not occur. If you don't have faith in your doctor or whoever's taking care of you, then true healing does not occur. Okay? Because chances are you're either not going to do it or you're not going to stay on plan. Okay? If I hit a personal trainer, if I don't believe, I don't know, then I'm either not going to start the program or I'm not going to stay on plan. So faith is very important, and we have to have faith that we can get better, especially in light of what can be or dire statistics. You know, there are some people who love to say, or who often say, that somebody only has so many months to live, or this is what's going to happen, or you're going to be on this medication for high blood pressure or diabetes or something the rest of your life, right? And if we believe that, then that's going to be true for us. Oh, my doctor said, and so many times it's the defiant patient that gets better because they're like, no, that's not me. You just tell me what needs to be done. Don't tell me about all those other folk. That's not me. Because there's two, I don't quote a lot of statistics, but there are two statistics that are important, and that's 0 and 100%. 0 and 100%. Either it's you or it's not. It says 0, it doesn't apply to you, or it's 100%, it applies to you. Okay? That's the real statistics. Because if we look at all these things, it says, okay, well, 75% of people are going to, end up in poverty, and whatever it is. If we accept that, that'll be true for us. But if we don't accept it, and we say, okay, that's interesting, 75% of people are going to do X. Okay, what do I need to do? What is the 25% of the people do? Okay? There's no kid who goes into school or to life thinking, I can't do this and that. I mean, normally they're very optimistic. Okay? And as we get to be adults, sometimes we listen to some other things and we think that, that we can't do. Okay, you know how it is with kids. They say, I'm gonna be an astronaut. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna sing, do this, I'm gonna do that. And then after a while, it's like, okay, be realistic. Our beliefs precede our actions. But faith is very important in mixed fluids. What are the fluids that we're drinking? The number one fluid that we need to drink is what? Water. Right. Approximately how much water? About half of our body weight in ounces. Most of the earth is comprised of water. Most of our bodies are comprised of water. Water, water, water. That's what we need to have the majority of. Okay? So if we're not drinking enough water, it's basically pure water. Okay? Pure water is what we need to be getting into our bodies for hydration. Every organ, part, system of the body needs water in order to function. Okay? Our brain needs water to think and for sharp thinking. Our lungs, our heart, our blood, everything needs water to function. We need to flush our body. We need to flush our kidneys. Our colon and digestive system absolutely needs to have water. If we had more water, we would have less gas and bloating and this and that going on. And if we did what our mothers told us not to do, drink before your meals, but drink water before your meals. First thing in the morning, before your feet hit the floor, then you want to drink a good glass or so, a good amount of room temperature water. It'll help to stimulate a bowel elimination. So if you're not eliminating 2-3 times a day, then chances are you're not getting enough water. Perhaps the number one reason why people have constipation and sluggishness is a lack of water. And the second is the type of food that we're eating and lack of fiber. Food, what do we need to eat? I'll simply state it, a plant-based diet. If it's grown on a plant, eat it. If it's processed in a plant, avoid it. A plant-based diet. So if you look at all especially the newer information, the research has been done over time, find that the blood sugar level, in other words, diabetes, can be reversed with a plant-based diet. Heart disease, Dr. Dean Ornish wrote a book on reversing heart disease on what? A plant-based diet. So the information on nutrition and everything is saying eat more greens, eat more your fresh fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, more of a plant-based diet. I'll just say that. I can lay out some more things. It can take quite a bit of time, but more plant-based diet will give you more fiber in your diet. In fact, in one of your brochures, you have these 10 steps. more fiber. So what is fiber? Fiber is what we call indigestible carbohydrate. It's the part of the food that we do not digest. Okay? And its function is in the mostly cleansed brochure that is being handed to you. It's fiber. If we get about 35 grams of fiber a day, we would be more regular. We would have it would decrease what we call our bowel transit time. Bowel transit time is the amount of time it takes for food to go from one end to the other. Okay, so more fiber will also help to curb the appetite. It'll hold on to fats and things that you don't need, the excess fats and things you don't need, so that it naturally will lower your cholesterol, help to balance your blood sugar level, move waste out of your body, helps to strengthen and help your the strength of the muscles in your digestive system, helps to get that waste out of those, those meals, so you want to have the pockets in there for the diverticulitis and the bowel irritation, etc. And it helps things move along. So when you're ready, when you're happy, when your colon is clean, the digestive system is functions better, the immune system is healthier as well. Flora. Now, flora is the friendly bacteria, or friendly or unfriendly bacteria in the digestive system. So you need to have healthy, friendly flora in your digestive system and less unfriendly. So when they talked about the candida, or candida overgrowth, or yeast overgrowth, or getting yeast infections, etc., that's because there's an imbalance between the friendly bacteria and unfriendly bacteria. And anybody who's done any gardening knows that it's not just the soil that's important, it's the bacteria that's in the soil. So when you have organic produce, organic things that are in there that go into the soil, it produces healthy bacteria, and that's what the plants need. And then you know that the plants grow better when it gets rainwater and not as well when you get tap water. Why is that? Well, one reason is because of the chlorine and the other chemicals that are in the tap water, that when it goes into the soil, it ends up killing some of that bacteria, and so the plants don't grow or thrive as well. Okay? So if you're gonna, when you have a garden, try to capture rainwater, use that, and use that on your plants, and that's preferential to tap water. Okay, which also means that we need to have pure, filtered, and purified water. The quality of water that goes inside of us is important as well for our digestive system and the health of our colon as well. So the the friendly and unfriendly bacteria. So we usually have about 80% friendly flora to 20% unfriendly flora in our digestive system for good health. If you have waste that smells, or you know someone whose waste smells to high heaven, gas and things like that, is really bad, then that means that the friendly flora in the digestive system is out of balance. And chances are the fiber, that they have a low fiber diet. I had a radio broadcast years ago, and one of the ladies called in. I was talking about colon health, and she called in. She said, that's true. She says, my brother used to have the foulest smelling stool, and later on what we found was he had colon cancer. Okay. So chances are it was a heavy meat-based diet, and whatever, especially if it's meat and it's sweets and it's alcohol and tobacco and those kind of things, that sets the stage for disease of the digestive system and cancers. Okay. Then fats. We want to get the healthy fats and less of the unhealthy fats. So the healthy fats would be the plant-based fats. So olive oil is good. Your olive, your safflower, your coconut, etc. So you want to get healthy fats in your digestive system and in your diet, and less of the saturated fats, or the fats that come from animal products. But even with that, fats, you don't want to add a lot of oil. Some people, they say, oh, olive oil is good for you, so they just kind of drizzle it on everything. We need to watch the amount of oil that we get into our diet, or the fats. Fitness is also important too. You heard them talking about exercise. Well, and you probably know that if someone's been in a nursing home, for a period of time, and they've just laying there for a long time, what happens? They not only get bed sores, but they tend to get really constipated. The more we move, the more our bowels will move. So the more exercise we get, even walking. No one has to go out and do aerobics and flips and all that. You don't have to do that. But we do need to exercise. And so those people who are concerned about exercise, well, I can't go out, it's not safe. Well, you know what? Fine. Exercise with a group, or find some other people that you can walk with or something. There's greater chance that you're going to die from a heart attack, or from cancer, or from lack of exercise, than from going out and somebody accosting you when you're out exercising, particularly with the groups. Exercise. Fitness is vitally important. And again, especially as we age, it can be slower movement. It can be, breathing is important. Yoga is important. Just getting some movement about a half an hour a day, every day, would make a world of difference. Fun is very important to have fun as well. When we laugh, when we're relaxed, so like, you heard them talk about the psychological effect of constipation and digestive disorders. Sometimes it's because we're not having enough fun. It's not just what we're eating, it's what is eating us. And then flushing as well. Flush is very important, to flush our body out. There are times when we need to increase substantially the amount of water that we drink. We need to flush out our kidneys. We need to flush out our body. We need to flush out impurities. We need to perhaps do some fasting and some flushing, doing the kidney doing a kidney flush, or kidney bladder flush, or liver gallbladder flush. It's important to flush out the waste. Just like going to the mechanic and saying, okay, I need you to change my oil and my oil filter. I need you to flush out my coolant system. Yeah. I want you to flush out the transmission fluid. Nobody says, well, I'm going to get some, whatever transmission fluid was in there when I got the car is going to be the same transmission fluid in there when I sell the car, get rid of the car. No, your transmission would burn up. Your engine, that oil would get in there, it would be so thick and gummy, it would ruin your engine, right? The coolant, it breaks down over time. You can't say, one time. I'm only going to spend my money on this one time. So, it's no different than with the body. We need to flush our body systems. It's not just one thing. Because I've heard people say incorrectly that, oh, here's something that just cleans out your whole system. There is no one food that the body needs. There is no one thing that flushes out your entire system. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is also vitally important as well because, again, it's not just what we're eating, it's what's eating us. If we don't forgive, we don't let go, we will have issues in our tissues. It'll set up somewhere. It shows up as stress. It shows up as tension. Then we wonder why we have these masses and this and that in the body. Well, sometimes it's just because those thoughts, what we're believing, what we're doing, hold someplace physically in our body. Right? And so when we let that go, what they say, anyway, there's a correlation between happiness and taking things very lightly and holding on to everything. And people like that. Some people like everything offends them. Why are you looking at me like that? Why did you say that? This person did this. This person did that. They're remembering something that happened 50 years ago. They're still holding on to it. You're talking about the same thing over and over and over again instead of letting it go. So forgiveness is vitally important as well. And so we are going to pause on that note here. We'll take a station identification break or something like that. And for those people who are in the viewing audience. So we want to thank you for looking in. We're not finished yet, but we're broadcasting live from Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, which is one of the properties between Detroit Holistic Center and Holistic Training Institute. We've been here serving, the public, Greater Detroit metropolitan area, and beyond through holistic health services, colon hydrotherapy, reflexology, the ionic foot baths, cleansing programs, natural weight loss programs, and more. And so we've got an audience of people here who are here for my talk on colon and digestive health. I consider the colon and the digestive system to be one of the most important, if not the most important system of the body. Okay? And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about having a healthy digestive system, because if we are going to change our diet, if we're going to make changes in our lives, then that is connected to, everything is connected to, directly or indirectly, to the digestive system. Okay? Our immune system, our endocrine system, our glands, everything. Because it all begins here. What we breathe in, what we drink, what we eat, everything comes in the body. Most things come in the body this way. Now, there are some things that come through the skin, but not most things. So if things go into, if the food and everything we take comes in through our digestive system, we're either taking in good things, our body's breaking it down and turning it into other good things and then able to eliminate it, or it's converting that to something that's unhealthy. There are only here's Nutrition 101. The body's only going to do one of three things with anything that goes inside of it. It's going to use it, store it, or eliminate it. Okay? All right? For those of you who are writing it down, your body is only going to do one of three things with anything it goes inside of it. It's going to use it for what I call for her. And for those women who in the audience, I know you like that one. Call it for her. That's for healing, energy, repair, and replacement. Okay? Using it for her. So when we take something in, so for example, when I drink this water, then my body is going to utilize that, right? It's going to take some of it in. It's going to contribute to flushing. So it's going to help it do some healing, taking in some good and flushing out the bad. It's going to help to balance my pH. It's going to help to nourish my digestive system. It's going to help to flush out my kidneys, right? So there's healing. There's, the energy is going to help to contribute to the energy. If a battery didn't have any liquid in it, it wouldn't go very far, right? I mean, like with your car, you had to have the metal plates in there, and you had to have some water in there to conduct electricity. So just like in our bodies, have got to have water as well. In fact, if you have water and minerals, then your energy level can be high. Sometimes people overeat because they think, that they're hungry when they really just need water. So healing, energy, repair. Now for food, when we look at our plate, when you look at your plate this evening, when you look at your plate in the morning, whatever you eat from day to day, look at it and think to yourself, say, is my body going to use this? Is it going to store it, or is it going to eliminate it? Now, anything that has a long time on the shelf is going to be a long time in yourself. Okay? Got that? A long time on the shelf is a long time in yourself. So if there's something that will sit on the shelf from 2015 to 2017, it's going to be a long time in yourself. Yeah. What vital energy can your body have in it? Now, an exception can be, for example, dried beans. You can have some dried beans, black beans and pintos and etc. And you can hold on to them for a pretty long time, and you can, soak them and sprout them, etc. So you can dry beans and then kind of suspend them for a while. But if you have a can of beans and those pork and beans or something, and it says, and you look at the top of the can, it's good till 2018. It's 2015. What life is in that? Because everything would naturally spoil, right?
Wow.
Okay. Okay. If you so things that have a long shelf life are just have a long shelf life, so they can sell it for a long period of time. It's a profit motive. Things that have a short shelf life. What has a short shelf life? Your fruit, fresh fruits, your vegetables, things that would come right from the garden, the things that would turn brown, and you said, "Oh, I don't want to get that. They go bad too fast." Well, that's good because it's either it should break down in your body, or it should break down and go back to nature. That's what it's supposed to. If it never breaks down, what foods never break down? It will be like almost like plastic. One time, my youngest grandson bit into a piece of plastic fruit. He didn't know it looked like an apple to him. And he went and he bit it, and then he looked at it. He was only about 2 or 3. He looks at it. I'm like, no, give me that. He didn't realize that it was more like styrofoam or something. Yeah. But he bit into it because it looked like food. Now, but that's what we do. Is they can fool the mind. They say, okay, we're telling you we're making it smell like food. We're making it look like food. Your body is going to trigger this hunger response. And then when you eat it, but you might as well bit into a piece of plastic fruit or styrofoam or something else. Okay? When you can take Supersize Me, they had these burgers. Okay? And they put it under some glass. And today it looks the same, and next week it looks the same, and 6 months from now it looks the same. So when the burgers, the fries, and the buns and all that looks the same today as it did 6 months or a year or 2 years, there's no life in it. Maybe there's a little mold in there. Okay? Maybe the lettuce that was on there mold. Maybe the tomatoes in there mold a little bit. But otherwise, if it doesn't contain any life, if it's not alive, it can't give you life. Good friend of mine, Jay, the Juice Man Course, used to talk about that in juicing. Says you get life from the food. You juice it and drink it right away. Okay, that's something that, you juice it, put it in a bottle, heat it up, put it in a bottle, and then months or years later, it's supposed to still be good. So your body's going to use it, store it, or eliminate it. So things that your body's going to use for healing, energy, repair, are they going to be those things that are alive? Things that your body's going to store, are they going to be those things that are dead? Your cakes, your candies, your cookies, things like that with long shelf life will end up on your hips, end up in your veins and arteries, will end up in your kidneys, and your liver, and your gallbladder. It'll be somewhere in the body, and it'll build up, build up, build up, build up. So what do they call stuff that builds up? That's constipation or congestion. Okay, that creates inflammation. So it's no wonder we have all these things. You say, oh, you got fibroids, and you got cysts and tumors and polyps and cancer. Well, guess what? That stuff is stored, right? It's stored for a long period of time. And then elimination. But if our elimination is good, if our kidneys are being flushed, if our liver gallbladder is being flushed, if our colon is being flushed, if things are moving out, in nature, it's a cycle. Okay? Try to hold your breath for 6 minutes or 10 minutes. Right? You can't do it. Okay? Your body should be continually processing. All the trillions of cells that are in your body are constantly moving and processing. Things should be moving out. So we should be urinating several times a day when we drink enough water, and our urine should be clearer than darker. Sometimes we take supplements or something. Sometimes we'll darken up, but it should be clearer than darker. And we should be eliminating 2 to 3 times a day, having good, long, large bowel eliminations 2 to 3 times a day. You start off with your water, that should be 1. You have another meal, that's another. You have, your 3rd meal, you're having another one. It may be stimulated by a meal or it may not be. Right? Nobody has a dog or a cat. They say, oh, my dog or cat, I haven't had to walk in 3 days. No, but people will be constipated for 3 days. Or there was a young lady who was in here not long ago, and it was about 2 weeks. She said, I haven't had a bowel elimination in about 2 weeks. And there's some people who say, no, that doesn't make sense. Who could, not have a bowel elimination for a couple of weeks? It happens. It happens. Believe me, it happens. It's been happening for years. Okay. Okay. You store eliminate. Our elimination needs to be regular. And it's going to be regular if you do have some of those suggestions that I made there as well. Next, we'll talk about cleansing. So cleansing is very important. For example, colon cleansing it's one of the things that we do, but it's important for that to happen in conjunction with other things. It's not just cleansing the colon. Cleansing or colon hydrotherapy cleanses, exercises, reshapes, tones, stimulates reflex points in the colon, and hydrates the body. So it's not just flushing out. So some people say, I can just take a laxative. I can just take, something like